Funding for the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, Iowa Farm Bureau Girls State Volleyball Championships is provided by...
The path to greatness starts early. The Iowa Farm Bureau believes in Iowa's youth and their pursuit of greatness. That's why we're proud to be the title sponsor of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. Each student's effort is important, and when one rises, we all rise to a better Iowa.
Fairway, along with Nabisco, Frito-Lay, and Sara Lee, is a proud sponsor of the Iowa Girls Sports Championships. We congratulate all the schools and student athletes participating in this year's Girls High School State Volleyball Championships. Fairway, proud to care for the places we work and live. By Musco Lighting, the sports lighting specialists, providing lighting systems for you, your project, and your community.
Welcome back to the U.S. Cellular Center in downtown Cedar Rapids, where we are down to the final championship. They might be the smallest schools, they might be the smaller towns, but boy, do they know how to play some volleyball, and it's the same thing on the line, a championship trophy for these two schools. Welcome back inside the arena, Eric Braley and Barb Randall, and it's been a long day, it's been a fun day. But I know that you have been more excited about this one than maybe some of the others we've seen.
That's exactly right, and that's exactly what I was going to say. It's been a long day. We've been here for hours. I feel a little bit like a ragamuffin. However, this match I'm looking forward to. This might be the best match of the day. The matchup that we have is gonna be awesome.
Don't go anywhere. Let's set the stage first. Wapsie Valley as they come in here, and they got some weapons, and both young and old. A good mix of freshmen and seniors. Sixth trip to state. They won titles back-to-back in 2006 and 2007. I talked about that blend of youth and experience. And keep an eye on the sophomore, Lidio Imbrogno. She leads the team in kills, averages nearly 4%. And the other senior, McKenna Miller, leading the team in digs. For Sidney, the #1 team in the state, 5 years in a row. They've been here, and they moved, though, from 2A last year to 1A this year. Senior class were undefeated at home, 49-0 in conference play. And Kelsey Hobby leads the 1A tournament in blocks, and Olivia Larson leads the 1A field in assists. Let's send it over to the public address announcer for a very special award.
The Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union's Golden Plaque of Distinction Award is given annually to an Iowa coach who has demonstrated a successful career while making notable contributions towards school, community, and the coaching profession. Presenting this year's Golden Plaque Award is IGHSAU Executive Director Gene Berger and Volleyball Administrator Lisa Brinkmeyer. The recipient of the 2009 Golden Plaque of Distinction Award is Melissa Friesmeyer of Holy Trinity Catholic. Melissa is in her 28th season of coaching volleyball and has taken 18 teams to the state tournament. In that span, she's won 2 state championships with 4 state runner-up finishes. She won her first crown in 1996 at West Point Marquette High School and won the 2014 Class 1A championship at Holy Trinity Catholic. Melissa has won over 900 matches in her career. She's been named the Iowa Girls Coaches Association's Coach of the Year twice and the 2017 NFHS Iowa Volleyball Coach of the Year. She has been named Regional Coach of the Year 11 times and Conference Coach of the Year 16 times. Melissa also serves as the girls golf coach at Holy Trinity Catholic and teaches physical education, outdoor education, and health at HTC Junior Senior High. Melissa has 3 daughters, Jessica, Jenna, and Jordan, along with 2 grandchildren. Congratulations to the 2019 Golden Plaque of Distinction Award in volleyball from Holy Trinity Catholic, Melissa Friesmeyer.
They don't hand those plaques out to just anybody. A great career, and what she has done not only in the sport of volleyball, but talking about her other responsibilities with other sports and teaching. And it's been fun to see as a lot of her former athletes are here and current team to make this moment even more special.
Yeah, she's done a great job at Holy Trinity, and her program, you know, you're going to be in for a battle anytime you come on the court against them.
We're ready for now the starting lineups. Back to the public address announcer.
Presented by Iowa Farm Bureau. Now let's meet our teams. Fans, please welcome to the floor the Wapsie Valley Warriors.
They've won 12 out of their last 14 matches, and in those 2 losses against 1A competition, Janesville and North Tama, but they are playing their best volleyball this time of the year.
And now please welcome the Sidney Cowgirls.
Last year in Class 2A, this year Class 1A. Undefeated this year versus 1A competition. Their only overall losses coming against state qualifying squads. They have experience with 5 returning starters.
In tonight's championship matchup. First, the non-starters and assistant coaches for the Wapsie Valley Warriors. Number 1, Emma Jones. Number 3, Sidney Matthias. Number 5, Grace Embroyo. Number 8, Briley Bellis. Number 9, Paige Burghardt. Number 10, Brooklyn Ettringer. Number 17, Kaylee Hines. The assistant coaches are Austin Shepard and Brittany Lent. Now the starters for the Warriors. Number 6, Calvin Rosengarten. Number 7, Casey Biesecker. Number 11, Hannah Knight. Number 12, Lydia Imbrogno. Number 14, Becca Platty. Number 16, Katie Sauerbry. The libero is number 2, McKenna Miller. Head coach for the Warriors is Heather Robinson. Now let's meet the non-starters and assistant coaches for the Sidney Cowgirls. Number 1, McKenna Lawman. Number 7, Emily Hutt. Number 15, Allison Barker. Number 18, Kaden Payne. Number 23, Faith Brumbaugh. Number 27, Madison Kingery. The assistant coaches are Kent Larson and Megan Perkins. Now the starters for the Cowgirls. Number 2, Olivia Larson. Number 3, Maddie Duncan. Number 5, Harley Spurlock. Number 6, Kelsey Hobby. Number 14, Presley Brumbaugh. Number 28, Paige Smith. The libero is number 12, Lily Johnson. Head coach for the Cowgirls is Amy McClintock. The officials for the match are first referee Jennifer Lewis, second referee Jennifer Wick. The line judges are Jody Wallinga and Keith Vanderplug. Now let's play championship volleyball!
Before we play championship volleyball, let's look at Barb's keys to the match. First for Wapsie Valley.
Yeah, they need to remain fearless. They have taken out 4-time defending champ Janesville, and then they defeated perennial power Holy Trinity. They haven't backed down an inch. Then they need to start quickly, come out strong, and never let Sidney have any ideas about winning or comebacks. Jump out from early on and never let up.
How about the keys for number 1, Sidney, the Cowgirls?
So Sidney needs to keep their laser-like focus. On Tuesday, it looked like Sidney was on a mission. They were focused and zeroed in on winning a championship. In the semis, they lost a little of that focus. You could see a little fracture, and they lost that set. So they need to put the focus back where it needs to be and pull out the win.
Let's take it.
They also need to enjoy the match, which sounds like it's different from being focused, but you can do both, and both kind of play into each other.
Here's how these two teams got here from Cedar Rapids. Sidney defeated Springville, and then North Tama. Wapsie Valley beat 4-time defending champion Janesville, and the powerhouse of Holy Trinity Catholic. This is the 5th and final championship. Been on the air since 10 a.m. as Iowa Public Television can't say enough about the amazing work that their crew has done here, bringing you the sights, the sounds, the emotion from the 2019 Iowa High School Volleyball Championships. There's the serve, and this one's officially underway. Cowgirls on the left of your screen of Sidney. Wapsie Valley Warriors on the right side, wearing the light tops. Patient, good defense. And then an attack air sails out of bounds, and the first points go to Wapsie Valley. I tell you what, if every point's gonna be that long and that hard fought, we might be here till midnight. Wow. 1-0 Warriors, and a chance to serve. Biesecker. Flying in, tap into the back row. And a lift call. I didn't see if it was a lift or in the net. Regardless, it's 2-0. A loud and rowdy student section for both schools. And in the net, our first service air and the first points for Sidney.
2-1, Wapsie Valley leads as Brumbaugh goes back to serve.
Serving behind the line is Presley Brumbaugh. Will play volleyball at Southeast Community College in Beatrice, Nebraska next year. Ball hit off the hands and down for the point. The kill to Embroino.
I think it's Beatrice, Nebraska.
Thank you.
And I think Sandy Stewart, who was doing the 2A and 4A matches, that's her hometown.
Say it one more time.
Beatrice.
Beatrice. Huh.
I could be wrong about that, but that's what I always thought she called it.
Regardless, they're getting a good player out of number 14, Presley Brumbaugh. 4-1, and the Warriors jumping out to that early start, trying to get that separation here.
And it's important to get that separation, but then what's even more important is to keep that separation throughout the set.
Quick set middle, down with the kill. Kelsey Hobby has over 1,200 career kills. And it's now 4-2. The Warriors of Wapsie Valley with the lead over Sidney. Sidney serving. Nice serve. Fighting to return it. You can't do it on that one. Service ace. And
Nice.
It makes it 4-3.
Well, that was great hustle by Wapsie Valley setter Biesecker. Just couldn't get enough to it to keep it on the court.
Paige Smith. Wapsie returns it. Joust at the net. Backwards hit. Are you kidding me? A no-look behind the back tap over the net for the point to tie this up at 4.
And you'll see her get all kinds of kills. She does everything, and she swings from the back row, and she hits down balls. I mean, she's all over the place.
I mean, I knew she had good vision, but not in the back of her head.
Well, they always say that parents have that. Maybe she's got it early.
Oh, that one just sails deep, but they're going to say
there was a touch. There is a touch
call.
Yep.
So the Cowgirls now move ahead, 5-4. Sidney with the lead. And here's Paige Smith. Nice pass. The set, a good swing. And look at that effort. No quit in Sidney. About as scrappy a team as you'll find. And we play on. Off the hands, down for the point. That hustle paid off.
The hustle paid off. The defense is awesome. They're running all over the court, and it makes Wapsie Valley wonder what's coming at us, and it just keeps coming at them and keeps coming at them, and eventually they win the point.
Great look at the replay there. So many times, these teams that get to the state championship match have just rolled over competition during the regular season. And a lot of times their swings usually go down for a point. They don't expect them to be returned like they are here tonight.
That's right. Look at Hobby there, making sure that she's got every angle blocked off and getting the block.
Well, the Warriors of Wapsie Valley jumped out to the early lead, but a run being put together here by Sidney. And shutting the door on that run is another kill for Katie Sauerbrei. Sauerbrei now with 1 kill. It's now 7-5. As you look at the sideline, as Heather Robinson, 11 years coaching, 3rd year at Wapsie Valley. Athletic Director Marty McCown. His son Brooks McCown is the state boys basketball record holder for career points. Played at UNI and now has been the head coach at Upper Iowa University for a long time. His daughter was a standout player at Wapsie Valley when they last won the state championship. Another point, and it's now 7-6. Sidney with the lead, Wapsie Valley with the run.
Well, and good job by Wapsie Valley to make sure that they stayed with the play and they were paying attention to the setter be in the front row.
Deep serve, wisely letting that sail long. Another service error makes it 8-6. And out of the rotation will be Kelsey Hobby to serve. All tournament team at last year's tournament. But remember, Sidney was 2A last year.
I'd be shocked if she isn't again this year. She's done a really nice job this whole tournament.
And a service ace to go along with all of her kills and blocks. 9-6.
She's also had quite a few aces this tournament. She is at 4 before this match started.
Able to find that far sideline. Let's look at the replay here.
Well, Larson is 5'5", going up against 6'3" Rosengarten. She says, no problem. Your hands may be way up there, but I'll just go right under your hand past your wrist.
Quick set middle, the timing just a little bit off. Trying to hang in the air and make contact was Rosengarten. And now the largest lead of this first set. The Cowgirls lead by 5. Let's see what they're talking about.
You're on this side of her, okay? Hey, keep working on defense, keep talking, stay positive. Let's go, you got this, okay?
Well, Sidney wearing the yellow shoelaces. I was talking with one of their coaches. They said they had a someone who graduated from their school last year, a gentleman who's recently been diagnosed with cancer, and they thought, hey, in tribute, in honor of him and the battle that he's facing, they're going to do a sign and bright yellow shoelaces, and quite an honor, and I'm sure that is special.
They each also have a yellow ribbon on the bow in their hair, so that probably is for the same reason. Good luck to him and his battle.
Absolutely. Here's the run by Sidney. Wapsie Valley just wants a side out. Tip, ball popped up. Need to hit it over on this contact. Some confusion. And the communication just off a little bit.
Well, and it looks like that's atypical of Wapsie Valley. They're not used to being down by 6 points, and so you kind of get a little confused, you kind of get a little unsure, and they just kind of need to calm down and play their game.
Hobby serves it into the net. That's atypical as well. She had 52 aces in the regular season. Not many service errors. Very aggressive behind the line. Wapsie Valley back row attack. Off the block, that'll drop. Knew that Wapsie Valley was going to get hands on it, but able to get it through for the point.
Well, and Duncan does a nice job of not only using the block, but making sure it stays in. So either way, she's going to get the point.
13-7, Sidney with the lead. Nice looking play there. Setting Calvin Rosengarten. She's a 6'3" freshman. 223 kills, second best on the team, averaging 2.19 kills per set, trailing only her teammate, Lydia Embroino. 13-8. Wapsie Valley jumped out to the early lead. Sidney made a run. And now Wapsie Valley needs to put some points together to get back into this here. Halfway through this first set, played at 25, win by 2. Off the hands.
So Brumbaugh has had that same shot twice. And one of the reasons that she's hitting it so far out of bounds is her body is too open, I'm gonna say, but it's open to the far side of the court. She needs to kind of face more towards middle back to keep within the range of the court, so to speak.
Maddie Duncan found a seam there. And now a chance to serve. Duncan, a 5'5" senior outside hitter. You know, 5'5" outside hitter. She's still able to get her kills, isn't she?
She is. Nice swing there by Rosengarten. She's up early. She's way over the block, and she's able to pick wherever she wants to go. She actually went through the hole in the block on that one and able to kind of just pick and choose her spots.
It'll be fun to fast forward a couple of years and see what these freshmen will look like after 3-4 more years of experience under their belt.
And strength and just confidence. Confidence is a huge piece of it, and I think that because of all the club experience, these young players have way more confidence than, like when I was in high school, a freshman never would have had this kind of confidence.
More reps. As you see another kill from the middle.
Well, but she was in the net, so it was a pretty kill, but you'll watch here when she finishes her follow through, she's in the net. And she's just hoping they don't call it.
Snap that wrist, and then on the follow through, like Barb Randall mentioned. That time it's blocked, hit out of bounds. No, it grabbed the sideline. That block, she just held her hands up. The power of it ricocheted back immediately. Let's see if it grabs line. That's an in. Well, a 3-point difference between Sidney and Wapsie Valley here in the Class 1A championship match. Off the hands, kept alive, and that's kind of that real tough territory where it's so close to the net. You're trying to get an attack on it, but you can't get into the net.
Well, and in the midst of all that, you're turning around. So you turned around to watch your teammate dig it, and then you have to turn back around and try and find it, and it's over your shoulder, and where's the net, and just, it's a difficult play.
An unfortunate service error by Wapsie Valley. And now the Cowgirls in a good spot here, leading by 3, and a chance for Brumbaugh to serve. Attack. That one might drop. No, they kept it alive. Over on 3 in system. Another long rally between Sidney and Wapsie Valley here, looking for a hard-earned point. Kind of tripping all over each other, and 4 contacts to call. So if you're new to volleyball, you can only hit it 3 times before you got to send it over to the other side of the net.
Well, and it was hard to tell if the Wapsie Valley outside right side blocker touched it when it hit the net or not, and that's one of the reasons the down official can help with that call, because she's standing right by there.
16-14, we played at 25. You got to win by 2. And that one's in again. Back to a 3-point lead. Now, Sidney built that 3-point lead and really has not been giving it up. Trying to race to that finish line and jump out to a 1-0 lead in the series. The team that wins 3 sets wins the match, and they are your Class 1A champion. An attack air.
Well, we talked a little bit earlier in a different match about the trajectory that you want to use as a hitter. That's a good trajectory. She needs to bring it down a little to keep it in the court. But you don't have to put every ball down at the 10-foot or the 12-foot line. Usually when you do that, you're hitting right into the blocker's hands. So if you use a little bit less of a trajectory, I think it would be less, but the slope goes deeper in the court, then you have better success hitting around and over the block.
Well, I don't care what trajectory you use on that. There's no hitting it around that block.
Oh, that was a good block.
Here's the replay. You come up and you see two sets of hands and a brick wall in front of you. Let's listen to Wapsie Valley's huddle as they trail by 5.
You gotta keep your minnows out of there. When you are against number 6, she runs that 3, she loves that 3. Okay, so our right side blocker, you need to cheat in on that. You see 6, you cheat in, okay? It's an easy hop step out to that outside to block, okay? Keep stay in on that. Everyone else, passers, let's keep our arms out. We're getting really tight to our bodies, spacing, all right? We're sinking in and it's looking better, all right? We just have to clean up our passing and we're back into this. All right, hitters, you gotta swing big and you gotta transition fast. All right, they're pushing us. Let's push them, let's go.
All right, here we go, guys. We gotta believe right now. Warriors are on 3, 1, 2, 3, Warriors are on.
Straight off the scouting report. 6 likes to hit that 3. That 3 is the quick set 10 feet away from the setter. The right side blocker, you heard Coach Robinson say, needs to take a step in, so she lines up right on that 3 spot. And then if they set it outside, it's still easy for the right side blocker to get outside and block her.
You gotta believe, even though you're down 5, you gotta believe you can still win it. Sidney with the serve in the lead. Miscommunication again. And it's now 20-14 in favor of the number 1 Sidney Cowgirls. Paige Smith, when she's back there serving, that's when they make their hay. Setter dump. Sidney was there to cover it up defensively. Blocked back. A defensive play that gets points. Let's go to our net cam to watch this one.
And you can see when she tries to hit straight down like that, it goes right into those blockers' hands. If she were hitting that, you know, she's the one who hit the trajectory earlier and it went out about 6 feet. She needs to go somewhere in between those two and she'll have good success.
Nice placement there on the swing by Katie Sauerbry. Her second kill. Good balance from both these teams on spreading around the offense. Briley Bellis to serve. A freshman DS. Has played in 73 sets, has 18 aces on the season. Blocked. Trying the other sideline. That one gets through. Off the hands of Lily Johnson. Excuse me, of Embroino. And Barb, this is a big lead right now for Sidney, needing just 3 more points.
Big lead, not insurmountable for Wapsie Valley, but a comfortable lead for Sidney as long as they keep doing what they've been doing.
Off the tip, Wapsie Valley on the right of your screen sends it over. Sidney, back row attack again. Both teams so good with their back row defense. Blocked and some front row defense.
Well, and that's a really tough ball to play because the blocker doesn't know if she should turn and play it or if someone's behind her. It's very difficult. So she's not really sure. If she would have let it go, Larson probably would have had it, but it's a really tough ball.
Off the hands, that one will go down for another point. 23-16. Sidney so close to closing out this first set.
Well, Spurlock did a really nice job of going high off the hands and still having the ball land in the middle of the court where everybody's confused. Nobody's sure who's going to go for the ball in the middle of the court.
Into the net, and that brings up set point. Sidney 24, Wapsie Valley 16. Just because you win the first one doesn't mean you get crowned the champion. You got to win 3. Wapsie Valley gets the kill.
Again, when Rosengarten goes up, she's up early, does a nice job hitting those golden corners and getting points for her team.
Rosengarten now with 3 kills. Hannah Knight behind the service line, facing set point for Sidney. That one down, and the first set goes to the Sidney Cowgirls. Kind of a sluggish start, but they put a nice run together midway through as they get a big victory, 25-17. Back with more from Cedar Rapids. You haven't tuned into Iowa High School Girls Volleyball Championship here on Iowa Public Television.
Don't miss one of Broadway's Tony-winning best plays.
What do you see? Red?
Red, about the brilliant artist Mark Rothko and his relationship with his paintings.
There's tragedy in every brushstroke.
And with his assistant.
Have you ever once asked to look at my work?
Why should I? This is all about me.
Starring Alfred Molina and Alfred Enoch. Enjoy Red.
Here's some red, and red, and red, lots of red.
Red, on Great Performances.
Later tonight at 9:30 on Iowa Public Television.
Find your favorite programs on IPTV. Submerge yourself in period dramas. Experience world-renowned musical performances. Conquer a DIY project. And visit some of Iowa's historical architecture. Programs made possible in large part by the support of viewers like you. Join Iowa Public Television for Festival.
Meet Pulitzer Prize-winning Native American master storyteller.
There was a house made of dawn.
N. Scott Momaday.
I am a Kiowa.
His voice had a spiritual connection to the land.
You cannot separate the Native American from the landscape. It is his spirit.
And the land was very old and everlasting.
Join us for Words from a Bear.
I turn into a bear on occasion.
N. Scott Momaday on American Masters.
Tune in to Iowa Public Television Monday at 9.
A convincing win, 25-17 by Sidney over Wapsie Valley. What do we make from that opening set victory?
Well, it's a 1-set lead for Sidney, but I don't think you can make too much from it yet. You know, at times, I think that the coaches for Wapsie Valley, Coach Robinson, thought maybe she was herding cats, trying to get people talking to each other and playing defense around each other. But towards the end of the set, they kind of picked things up and got back towards their game a little bit. Look for more of that to happen in the second set.
Let's take a look at some of those highlights that happened just moments ago from that opening set. Again, Wapsie Valley jumped out to that early lead, but Sidney dug deep and put a nice run together, winning 25-17. 12 kills for Sidney, just 7 for Wapsie Valley, 4 kills for Duncan, 4 kills for Hobby, and 4 Wapsie Valley, 3 kills for Rosengarten, 2 kills for Embroino, and Sauerbrey has 2 kills as well. Individual stats look like that. Here's what the team statistics look like. More kills, a couple more aces, and just making the most of their opportunities. Good balance offensively and defensively for Sidney, but we have seen Wapsie Valley play. We know that wasn't their best stuff here in this championship match.
Well, and they were not fearless that set. So look for them to maybe come out a little bit less nervous and just put the pedal to the metal like they have every other match this week.
Wapsie Valley came in the number 6 seed. They beat number 3 seed and 4-time defending champion Janesville in the quarterfinals. They beat Holy Trinity Catholic in the semifinals to get here.
Well, and the matchups are the same. The coaches like what they're seeing apparently, so they go with the same lineups, same rotation.
We switch sides, so Wapsie Valley will be on the left of your screen and Sidney on the right. Sidney was Class 2A last year, drops down to Class 1A this year. And they have just made a home here in Cedar Rapids, 5th consecutive trip to state.
Well, and the cool thing about it is that it has all been under Coach Amy McClintock.
Yep.
She has built the program there at Sidney. The first class that came to state, I don't know if you remember this, 5 years ago, when they were juniors, the big story was when they had been in 8th grade, they didn't win a match.
Not
they didn't,
a single one
not a
all
single
year
match.
long.
And so it was really neat to watch their progression from 8th graders to making it to state when they were in high school. And so that's all under Coach McClintock.
McClintock has been coaching 6 years, all of them coming at Sidney. And 5 of those 6 years, she's led her team to state, on the brink of a state title. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. You got to win 3, and Wapsie Valley is not rolling over to hand anything to Sidney here. A lot of work needs to be done. There's a look at the replay. And Barb, that is the 5th kill that we've seen by Hobby.
Well, and if you give Hobby no block up against you, she's going to put the ball down.
Looks like Hobby gets it again. That time a double block was there.
So all day we've talked about the hands and the arms for the blockers. You see the blockers, their arms are going to go up straight over their head and then try and push forward. You can't block like that. You have to push forward first and get your hands over the block to seal the net so the ball stays on the other side of the net.
Paige Smith with the serve. Sidney, tip over the block. Good discipline by Wapsie Valley to get under it. Roll shot, back to Sidney. Blocked back, and that was a quick ricochet back down for the point. Give credit to Kaylee Imbrogno with that.
They have a nicely formed block. All 4 arms are up there forming a wall. You don't see a lot of holes or space in between it. Nice block.
Katie Sauerbrei as well teams up for that. 3-2, Cowgirls on top. And a chance to serve for Wapsie Valley. Clips off the top of the net. Is returned. Good hustle out of Wapsie Valley. No return in that. Good attack from the near sideline. Maddie Duncan. She's a 5'5" outside hitter, a senior who had 256 kills this season and a 221 kill efficiency. Well, I was talking with Wapsie Valley, one of their assistant coaches, Austin Shepard, before. I said, so what did you do yesterday? You know, besides winning the semifinal and getting here. He said, well, it was pretty late. You know, we went back to the hotel, we ate some food, we talked, we relaxed. I said, well, what did you do today? Because you wake up in Cedar Rapids and you have till 7 o'clock. I thought it was pretty creative what they did.
Me too. It sounded fun to me. I wish we could have been a part of it.
We'll tell you about it after a timeout. The Cowgirls are on a run, a 6-2 lead. And let's hear what Sidney has to say with Amy McClintock.
Make sure that when you have that, when she's in that front row, you got to bring that block to the left a little bit, okay? And you got to go away from her. If you have to tip, you got to go this way or to the middle because the line is not open, okay? Hey, let's go. Focus right here. Keep looking.
I'm not sure which player they're talking about bringing the block in. I would guess maybe Imbrogno, sorry. But we'll see. It could also be Rosengarten. Just talking a little bit about placement of the block. And then I liked it when she said the tip isn't open right behind the block. You have to go somewhere else with it if you're in trouble.
Good to know that information before the set's coming your way and you're hanging up there trying to decide what to do. You know, okay, I got a variety of options. Tip isn't one? Okay.
Maybe I should decide before I land.
Oh, a tough serve right out of the timeout. Quickly returned, and Wapsie Valley gets the point. Lydia Imbrogno leading the team in kills, averaging 3.5%.
And so Imbrogno's been hot all week. She's been gotten the majority of the sets, and she's really done an amazing job. She's only a sophomore, and it's pretty impressive.
She did a nice job in the back row there to keep this ball off the court. There she is again, quick set middle to the back row, and Sidney gets it blocked. Timed the jump perfect.
And that's a great point that you make. When the hitter is hitting from the back row, the block's timing is different. They have to wait a little bit longer before they go up to block the ball.
A lift, so that's a service ace. And after that timeout was called, it's been all Wapsie Valley. Early stages here, but this looks like a more confident Wapsie Valley team. They cleaned up some things after that lopsided 25-17 loss in the opening set.
So they called a lift on that. A lot of times when the ball kind of rolls down your body or the net in front of your body, when you try and get under it fast enough, you end up lifting the ball.
Wow.
Nice spot.
She didn't come with power, instead went with placement.
Well, and it was a little bit of a different spot because there was a back row player there, but she placed it perfectly so that it was just out of reach of the diving defensive player.
7-6. Again, the momentum has shifted for Wapsie Valley here in the last 5 minutes or so. Back set swing off the hands. And not good contact there. Hitting air into the net makes it 8-6 side out. And Sidney, again, if you want to see a gritty, scrappy team, that's just what they hang their hat on the last 5 years.
Well, and you can tell it from the rallies that we've seen here. They get touches on almost every ball defensively. And that's exactly what scrappy defense is. It may not always be a perfect up. It may not always be scoring points, but they're always getting a hand on it so someone else can come along and get a second contact.
Attack air sails deep and out of bounds. 9-6 Cowgirls with the lead. There you see the Sidney student section and the focus from student athlete to head coach. Tip. Sidney swings and gets it through the block. Again, the block was there, just not executed as strongly as it needed to be.
Correct. The feet are there, but the arms aren't doing what the arms should be doing.
They were there though, right?
They're there, but they're going straight up and leaving a gap between the arms and the net. You have to go push over like the slope of the roof of a house, push over the net so that it seals off the net and there's no room for the ball to go between your arms and the net.
You're hearing coaching and analysis from the great Barb Willis-Randall. She's a member of the Iowa High School Volleyball Hall of Fame. She was an All-American at Iowa, played on the U.S. national team, played internationally, and was an assistant coach at Purdue and at the University of Northern Iowa for a long time. That's her credentials. I'm Eric Braley, her friend and colleague. And Barb, we had a chance to see the 5A, 3A, and now 1A. Maybe just describe to our viewers how special the talent is here in the state of Iowa, because not only all the options with junior college, Division II, Division III, Division I, but there's a lot of coaches that come here and recruit the state of Iowa, the Iowa girl for volleyball, to come out of state and play.
Yeah, Iowa has great volleyball throughout all the ages, and it's because we have a great work ethic. You know, the kids in the state work hard, and there isn't a match when we aren't saying there isn't anybody on this team going to play in college. They've all got teams that are going to play somewhere, and like you said, at any level, it could be Division III, it could be Division II. I mean, Maddie Kubik, who we talked about because her sister played on the 5A West Des Moines Valley team, she's a freshman at Nebraska, one of the top collegiate Division I teams in the nation. And so coaches like to come to Iowa to get great players. Sydney Peterson, she's out of Dyke New Hartford. She's playing at the University of Texas, started as a freshman.
True freshman.
And they're in the top 5 in the nation. So we've got a lot of kids who go and do great things in the sport.
13-8, and that's why we loved bringing you all this coverage here, so you get a chance to see not only the kids that are going to go on and play at the next college level, but also just the hard-working dedication that all these student athletes bring And it's pretty special to get this far. There's only 8 teams that are playing here on Championship Friday, and only 4 of them become champions. Well, Sidney's starting to pull away a little bit, and a timeout on the court. Let's see what Wapsie Valley is talking about inside their huddle.
I know she's running your tail off. You're going to have to try to do your best. Otherwise, when you're blocking alone, you've got to take that strong angle away. Ladies, come on, here we go. Serve, receive, we're cleaning it up, it's looking better. Hitters, you have to stay high, you have to swing hard. All right, right now, we're not taking smart shots at all. All right, you gotta stay smart, you gotta stay competitive. Let's go, let's get after it. You girls can do this, come on. You gotta believe.
Warriors are on 3, 1, 2, 3, Warriors are on.
Here we go.
I like that she told them to swing high and hard, because right now they're showing a little bit of fear by tipping all the time. And Sidney's picking up those balls. So swing high, swing hard, be aggressive, go out battling.
It is a battle. They don't just hand out those championship trophies. You got to work hard, you got to earn it. Wapsie Valley has had a special year. Again, they've won 12 out of their last 14 matches, and their only 2 losses against 1A competition against Janesville and North Tama. That ball was touched before it went out of bounds is the call. So the Cowgirls get the point. Again, they won the first set 25-17, and they have a 7-point lead right now. As the head coach looking on, Amy McClintock. Good pass. Pops it up. Blocked. The timing has been perfect for Sidney.
Well, and a really nice block, because that was hit by Becca Platty, who's a lefty. And so you have to set your block up just a little bit different when you're blocking a lefty, because the ball's hit from a different place. So the outside hitter needs to set the block, and the middle needs to get over to her, and they did it perfectly.
But a service error makes it 16-9. Again, looking to get a championship trophy, either Sidney or Wapsie Valley. If you're just joining us, Cedar Falls won the 5A match over West Des Moines Valley 3-1. Sergeant Bluff-Luton won the 4A match over Western Dubuque 3-0. In Class 3A, it was Mount Vernon over Kemper Catholic 3-0. And the 2A match was a good one, Western Christian 3-1 over Dyersville Beckman. And in that, Tammy Verbeek won a Iowa record best 12th title, and she's closing in on 1,000 wins. Congratulations to Coach Verbeek and that 12th state championship.
Well, and aside from those 12 championships, they've been here a record, I think it's 37 years. I mean, she's brought a lot of teams to Cedar, well, to wherever the state tournament's being held.
On the slide, Wapsie Valley on the left of your screen in the light tops. Sidney on the right. Great hustle. Love the effort. Getting down and dirty as we work for every point. And boy, does that pay off. Dust yourself off and get ready to do it again now.
Well, and it just shows how strong defensively both of these teams are, both in the backcourt, and then they're getting a lot of touches on the blocks as well.
To serve, it's Emma Jones. Lets it fly. And the setter sent it over herself, but Wapsie was prepared for it. Overpass. Back set into the block. Here's Wapsie Valley. Roll shot, tipped. Some options here. Good swing. Another long rally. You don't have to hit it 3 times. You can send it over on 1 or 2. And that's what we're seeing in this great rally.
Well, and who's going to take a big swing?
And it finally drops. Kaylee Embroino. (16-12). I should have started the stopwatch on my phone. That was like 4 minutes for that 1 point. But Wapsie Valley needs each and every one of them. Now the gap is closed to just 4. Make it 3. Little timing issue, trying to go to Paige Smith on the outside. Sails outside the antenna. And it's now a 3-point ball game here in the second.
That is a tough serve. It's barely skimming the net.
And the momentum is officially shifted over to the Wapsie Valley Warriors side of the net, and the student section's getting louder and louder with each and every point.
Well, and that's their 6th straight point.
Trying to make it 7. Another good serve. Out of bounds.
Emma Jones, the server, is a freshman. Timeout by Sidney.
Not playing like a freshman.
No, she isn't.
Let's listen inside the Sidney huddle with Coach Amy McClintock.
Hey, set her on. Set Kelsey on the left. Hey, we're starting to relax a little bit too much, okay? You got to keep working. Every point's important, okay? Side out right here. Let's go.
Interesting point. She said we're starting to relax too much. There's a fine line. You want to be relaxed, but you don't want to be too relaxed.
Yep.
If you're too tight, then you got problems. If you're too relaxed, you have different problems. So there's a fine line there, and sometimes you gotta screw around with it a little bit to figure out where that line is.
And some players play a little more tightly wound.
Yep.
You have your high energy spark players. You have your laid back players. It takes a whole team to win a championship. And right now, boy, they needed that point.
Well, and that was the play drawn up by the coach. She said put Kelsey out on the outside, and she went out there and just hammered it past the block down the line.
7th kill for number 6, Kelsey Hobby. All-tournament team last year, averaging 3.8 kills per set this season. Sidney takes a good swing at it. It's denied. They started celebrating, and I guess they're gonna say it did hit.
They called a lift. So I think they got it up, but they called a lift.
So the point does stay with Wapsie Valley.
But yeah, that just proves you gotta play until the whistle.
So many times this year, these teams have just been superior compared to their competition, where you just get a good swing and it always goes down. Well, not necessarily here in Cedar Rapids at the state championship. Perfect placement on that far sideline.
Well, and there's Hobby hitting from the right. We've seen her hit mostly from the middle, but they pushed her out to the left, she got the kill. They put her back to the right side, she got the kill. They'll set her in the back row, and she'll get kills from the back row as well. She does it all.
Well, they'll need to set her in the back row. She's serving right now. Quick set middle, perfect.
Rosengarten taking that cutback shot back across her body so that she can hit that deep corner back in zone 1.
Rosengarten now with 8 kills to lead Wapsie Valley.
A little bit of miscommunication over on Sidney, but they still don't let the ball drop.
Down the line, but out of bounds.
Nice job by Lydia Imbrogno. Imbrogno that time got her foot to the sideline, so she knew if it's to my right, it's out, and that's a great way to play defense.
Here's Lydia. Quick set, tip. What a swing! And the Warriors are playing like Warriors. And down, but they rallied back to take the 19-18 lead.
That time Spurlock's arms were straight up instead of pushed over.
Sidney over the block. And in the net called against Sidney. Played a 25, win by 2. And a timeout on the court. Sidney leads the series 1-0. Let's listen to the Wapsie huddle and head coach Heather Robinson.
Girls bounds, we're supposed to be covering that. Block takes angle, middle back, you got line to line. You got to sit in on that and stay deep so you can play it if they're going to roll shot it over our block. All right? Come on, girls, you're doing great. Keep going. Come on, believe, get after it.
Warriors, you're on 3, 1, 2, 3. Warriors, you're on.
Good choices. Good choices. Come on.
Positioning is always a good thing to talk about because, like we've talked about, defensive players in the back row tend to kind of scoot in, and so reminding them to stay deep and stay home is always a nice thing to help your players remember.
We've had some outstanding coaches here on this championship Friday from Cedar Rapids. What I like, we got a couple of younger coaches who have had a lot of success, but have bright futures as well, as long as they stay in the coaching ranks. Little confusion. Bodies kind of flying everywhere on Wapsie Valley's side.
And a double contact is called for that one. Kind of gets Sidney out of the pickle.
Olivia Larson serving for Sidney. Near service ace, they can't return it. And boy, this one's gonna go right down to the wire, isn't it, Barbie?
Well, I think that we kind of all the coaches who have been around this week have thought this one has potential to go 5.
Didn't look like it in the first set. Cruising to a 25-17 victory was Sidney. And early on in the second, Sidney was up. Wapsie Valley hung and fought, and now they lead 21-20.
Well, Presley Brumbaugh thought that ball hit the blocker's hands and went out of bounds, so she was confused when they gave the ball to Wapsie Valley.
Hannah Knight serving. Good placement to the back row.
So we need to talk about that a little bit because Wapsie Valley is the first team we've seen today that plays a rotation defense, which puts people back in those golden corners. So that opens up the middle back of the court.
21-21 here in the second set. And going to Calvin Rosengarten. She is just a freshman, and on the season, 223 kills, second best on the team. And she does a great job blocking as well. Miller serving. Free ball over the net. Did it get in?
It is.
Oh my, grabbed the far sideline. Right in front of Sidney's bench. Third kill of Sauerbrei.
A little bit of mistiming on the jump caused a funny trajectory that made everybody think it was going out of bounds, and it landed just on that sideline.
Sidney makes it 23-22. Third kill by Presley Brumbaugh. Lily Johnson serving. Not the best pass. Needs to send it to the back row. Wapsie Valley back row. The Warriors have battled to take a 23-22 lead. Very patient with it. Sidney. And that's too hard. Deep and out of bounds, and it's set point as Wapsie Valley's trying to tie this series up as we go to the third set. What did the coach say time and time again? Heather Robinson, you gotta believe. Kept alive. In system, to the outside, off the hands.
Double contact is going to be called on that set. Point to Sidney.
That's a touchy call, and what are they looking at right there?
Well, basically, your hands have to touch the ball at the same time. If they don't, then it can be called a double contact.
Still set point, though. If Wapsie Valley gets this point, it's tied 1-1. Sidney with the ball. Another good swing. Kept alive. Free ball over the net. Another great rally. Popped up, and there's no return in that one. Cue the celebration for Wapsie Valley. That was hard fought. And we're going at least 4 here in the Class 1A championship match.
We wouldn't expect anything else, would we?
25-23, Wapsie Valley defeats Sidney. We're tied at 1 apiece. We'll be back with the 3rd set right after this from Cedar Rapids. You haven't tuned in to Iowa High School Volleyball Championship here on Iowa Public Television.
It's you I like. Hi, I'm Michael Keaton. Come to the Mr. Rogers neighborhood and celebrate the programs that have inspired more than 4 generations of children and parents.
Oh, I love this is the one where you blow really, really hard.
It's really magic. It's so far beyond just entertainment.
Well-known friends share their heartfelt memories on Mr. Rogers. It's you I like.
Tune in to Iowa Public Television Saturday at 8.
Join the conversation online with Iowa Public Television. Follow us on Facebook. Connect with us on all our social networks.
This time on the Woodsmith Shop. A cutting board is the ideal project, the type you can complete in a weekend while you're contemplating your next big project. Inspired by quilt patterns, the entire board is made from identically sized end-grain blocks of different wood species. With multiple design options, you can choose from one of our designs or create your own. Let's build one on the Woodsmith Shop.
Tune in to Iowa Public Television Tuesday at 6:30.
As expected, we head to the 3rd set, and we're tied. Sidney wins the 1st, Wapsie Valley wins the 2nd. Everyone's watching this statewide here on Iowa Public Television championship match. We've handed out 4 championship trophies, 1 more to go. I even got a text from American Idol winner Maddie Poppy. She's like, my whole family's watching. This is great TV. It's fun if you're in the arena. It's fun if you're watching at home.
That's exactly right, and this next set should be really fun. So let's sit back, enjoy it, and we'll tell you all about it.
So let's take a look at some of those highlights from that 2nd set. I thought Sidney might kind of run away with this here, but you never doubt a Wapsie Valley team, apparently.
Well, you never doubt a Wapsie Valley team, and their blocking has gotten hot. We call blocking kind of a feast or famine skill, and Wapsie Valley has 8 blocks, which I think
they're feasting on it.
They're definitely feasting on it, but I think 8 blocks is the most we've seen all day out of any of the classes. And those matches are complete. We're only in set number 3 here.
Some great highlights as we get set here. Overall, 17 kills for Wapsie Valley, 24 for Sidney. The attack percentages are about equal. And the leaders, it's Rosengarten with 6 kills, 5 for Embroino, 3 for Sauerbrei. And for Sidney, 8 kills for Hobby, 7 kills for Duncan, who's had a really, really nice match, Maddie Duncan. And 3 kills for Smith, and Brumbaugh with 4 kills as well. First point goes to Wapsie Valley. Set to the outside. And Wapsie Valley, ball hung on the net, unable to pop over. And Sidney with the point.
Well, and if you're keeping track at home, the matchups have remained the same. So coaches either like where their players are starting or they like the matchups they have. Again, I'm more of a little
You'd
bit
mix
of a...
it up a bit.
Yeah, I want to try and get a better matchup every single time.
Another point for Sidney and the Cowgirls on a 2-0 run.
Well, nice job by Paige Smith being up there and guarding against the ball coming over to the Cowgirls side.
A great job by our production team here on Iowa Public Television. Running cameras, directing, producing, instant replay, audio, graphics. I could go on. There's like 100 people here, I swear. And they have been here yesterday. I think the call time was 6:30 a.m. today. And little tiny breaks in between some of the matches to go to the bathroom, get a water, eat a granola bar.
Yeah, we've been lucky because we had other people doing our job during the 4A and 2A matches, but they have no breaks.
And it's all to bring you the sights and sounds from this championship Friday. 3-2, Cowgirls leading the Warriors as Sidney. There they are, inside the control room. I love it. I didn't even, if I knew there was a camera in there that we could put up at any time, I would have gone to that multiple times throughout today.
Well, and I thought I saw some candy in there earlier, so I think they get the luck of having snacks.
Have to sustain a long, long day. Hey, I never finished my story, did I?
No.
So that was like 20 minutes ago. An attack air ties this up at 3-3. So I was talking to Wapsie Valley. I said, what do you do if the match isn't till 7? And well, we eat breakfast and then we check out of the hotel. I said, and then what do you do? I said they go to a Farm and Fleet store and they do a scavenger hunt. So everyone has $20 and you have 30 minutes to find like a white elephant gift and other things. So just, you know, getting them having fun, maybe not thinking about the match, how big of a day it is, walking around.
Well,
and then they came here and then watched the 3A, 2A championships.
When I coached at UNI, that was kind of one of the things we would do before. We didn't want the players to be sedentary all day, but we also didn't want them to be tired for the match. So we would do what we call, it looks like there was a huge net violation there.
The net's shaken.
Yeah, we would do what we would call active rest, where we'd go to a mall and they'd have to walk around a certain amount of time, and then they could study or whatever, but we'd make sure that they weren't just sedentary the whole time.
Well, it's about 8 o'clock last night before Sidney and Wapsie Valley were able to leave as their semifinals were wrapping up.
So that ball was called out, but it was also called, there was a touch on the block. Or maybe in the back row. I'm not sure where the touch was called, but 4 people could have.
Sidney with the serve and the 1-point lead.
So you say you're getting texts from Maddie Poppy. I got a text from someone who is saying he's actually an official.
Okay.
And he said that he and his wife do a shot every time we say trajectory. So should we help him out a little bit and say it a little bit more?
It's a big part of the game of volleyball,
That's right,
though?
The trajectory is a big part of the game of volleyball.
That ball, I thought, was real close to being in. Real good communication by Sidney saying, let's let that
Lay
one
off
go.
that one, that's right. That trajectory is too long.
And I tell you what, the coaches were right there. It was right in front of the Sidney bench. They're helping communicate that as well.
You have to. A player on the team has to help in any way they can. So if you're sitting on the bench and you don't ever get into the game, you can really make a big difference by telling the players on the court, hey, this shot's open, or the tip's open here, or when you do this, they do this. So pay attention to that.
Brumbaugh with the play offensively for Sidney. A 3-point lead. And Wapsie Valley gets the side out. It's their 6th trip to state, 2nd in the last 3 years. They won the title in 2006 and 2007. And this Wapsie Valley team, good blend of youth and experience. 4 seniors, 5 freshmen. Serving it is Hannah Knight, one of those freshmen. And it too deep and out of bounds. And the Cowgirls now lead by 3 here in the 3rd.
But you know what we say about a 3-point lead.
And
it's kind of like not having a lead.
Especially this early on.
That's right.
Now, if it builds to 6 or 7, that might have a bigger impact.
You still can't get too comfortable.
Yeah. build into 4 here.
Timeout by Wapsie Valley.
And I think Wapsie Valley doesn't want it to build to 6 or 7. A run being put together by Sidney. And here is Amy McClintock, their head coach.
You guys have a lot of energy. Keep it going, okay? You guys are doing great. Just keep working hard. Okay, let's go.
Never work.
Play together.
1, 2, 3, go.
I agree. There's not a lot that they need to change right now. They are up by 4 in the 3rd set. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep pulling away. I might have added work hard to make sure you get this point, but yeah.
Each assistant coach has a role on this team as well. And at this stage, I mean, you've been playing together since August. You're hearing Christmas music on the radio. You know, this is the last day of high school volleyball in the state of Iowa in 2019. It's been a long season. Everybody knows their role, what they need to do to help the team succeed.
Nice angle, nice idea. She saw the 2 blockers up straight ahead of her, so she tried to cut it back around that block, and it just went a little bit wide. Right idea.
Cowgirls first to double digits, and they're doubling up the Warriors 10-5. Tip. Sidney so good, so sound defensively, and frustrated is Kelsey Hobby. She'd love to have that one back. She would, and she just got behind the ball. So even when you're hitting from the back row, you still need to stay on top of the ball so that you can make sure the trajectory goes down and stays in the court. Back set. Wapsie Valley. They won the 2nd set 25-23, but it's been all Sidney since then, winning 25-17 in the first, and now
Double
racing
contact.
out to an 11-5 lead. It's been a mixture of Sidney doing some things really good and some miscues on Wapsie Valley's side of the net.
Well, and that's really what it's been for Wapsie Valley. This set has been a few little issues. They're still fighting hard. They're still playing great defense. They have some great rallies, and then one little mistake will catch them.
You know, something that I find interesting is that
Nice dig.
Wapsie Valley really has been battle-tested. They play in the extremely challenging NICL East. They went 2-7 in their conference.
Wow.
They finished 7th in their conference.
Wow.
But they're playing schools 2A, 3A
Yep.
in their conference.
Well, the worst part about that is your head, because you start kind of losing a little confidence, maybe
There's
not
no way
thinking
we're
you're
going to
that
win
good. Right.
a title if we can't.
Right.
Well, right now, Sidney is humming right along, hitting on all cylinders. Let's see what Wapsie Valley can try and do to figure out a way to get the momentum on their side.
Good platform in and get that ball in Casey's head so we can swing. She's all over the place, all right? We can do this. We are a better team than this. Or do we believe in it? Yes. All right. Take a deep breath. Ready? Deep breath.
Here we go.
You ready to go now? All right, let's go!
Well, that's what we talk about being too tight. So she had everybody take a breath to relax them a little bit. Get your platforms out so that the ball's not just bouncing off and over the net. Help the setter out.
She's working hard.
She's working hard.
Working hard.
She's going to be just exhausted after this match. Help her out. Let her run the offense. They can come back just like they did in the 2nd set.
Yeah, in the 2nd set, it was very similar to what we're seeing here in the 3rd set, and Wapsie Valley put the run together to claim that victory. That one goes through the block. Presley Brumbaugh, again, going to play volleyball at Southeast Community College in Nebraska. And a chance for the libero to add more points here for Sidney. Lily Johnson. (13-6). Sidney has been the better of the two teams here in the last 7 or 8 minutes. That's the swing they want. Good job defensively in that front row by Wapsie Valley. That block was there, but it hit off the hands and took a straight drop down to that pink court.
On a play like that, when a player tries to slide their hand under the ball, it's called a pancake. And if the ball hits the hand and none of the floor, it's legal. All 4 officials get to make the call. If they see the ball hit the floor, they get to help with that call.
And on some courts, you might not be able to tell as well, but on a hot pink surface, it's easier to see was there a hand under it or not.
Color, yeah.
We saw the down official with their pink whistle as well. All part of the branding of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. Their director for the last several years, Jean Berger, she's really trying to take it up a couple of notches. Long-time Division I administrator at Drake University. There she is. Wow, I'm just talking about her, and immediately they got her on camera at UNI at Drake, and saying, hey, we need to make this an even bigger deal, these championships for the Iowa girl.
Well, and because of that, they get pink t-shirts when they win a state championship. They have pink balloons fall from the ceiling. The court is pink. It didn't always used to be pink. You know, there's
pink
all kinds of
brick road. They
run in on a pink brick road. All the union employees are wearing pink in some way, shape, or form, as are we.
Yeah, I had to go buy a pink tie. I didn't have to, I just didn't have a pink tie in my wardrobe. Good excuse to buy a pink tie. Well, the Cowgirls now a double-digit lead, and they just are playing really fundamentally strong as we see the 4th kill for Wapsie Valley's Sauerbrei, and just continuing to believe is what Wapsie Valley needs to do their side of the net. But Sidney's making it hard.
Well, and there's a net violation called on Wapsie Valley for that one, but the ball also went down.
The regional tournament, Sidney defeated Bedford, Lenox, and East Mills. And Wapsie Valley took care of Starmont, West Central, and traditional power Crapola.
Nice save. If you're not familiar with where Sidney is, we weren't either 5 years ago when they first came here, but they are in about as far southwest in Iowa as you can get. They are way down there. And they also are famous for a rodeo.
And I'm assuming that's why the school's mascot's the Cowgirls.
I would assume the same thing.
Barb, I'd like to go to that rodeo with you sometime.
I want to go. I almost went 2 years ago. Yeah, I almost went 2 years ago.
19-7, Sidney on top. They are in the driver's seat and in control here in this 3rd set, trying to break the tie. What perfect placement to that corner.
And Kelsey Hobby took kind of a breath after a breath of relief after that one, because I think she thought it was going out, and then it landed right on the line with that great trajectory of hers.
Well, a 13-point lead, the largest of the entire match. Wapsie Valley gets the point, and they just need to get some momentum. We know this is going at least 4, but Wapsie Valley just, I mean, if they could get to 15 points, even if you lose it,
yes,
something positive.
Right. Well, and Coach Robinson has been helping with that. You know, in the 2nd set, she talked to them about what they needed to do. They need to believe. They still believe. It's just, you gotta kind of 1 point at a time. How do you eat an elephant?
1 bite at a time.
That's right. So that's how you come back from a large deficit.
Emma Jones serving. Jones, a freshman.
And we might have another person going to the rodeo with us. I just got a text from a college teammate of mine who said, I'll go to the rodeo with you.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Right.
Many amazing things going on across this great state of Iowa. I've lived here my whole life.
And
that
don't know about most of them, right?
Yeah. Joust at the net, and it's going to be Sidney winning that battle.
Well, one of the things, Olivia Larson is maybe the unsung hero of the Sidney team.
I could see that, yeah.
She's the setter, and she just does an amazing job. She gets to every ball, and she battles at the net. She knows when to send it over. She knows how to, when she has to send it over, how to make sure that it stays on the other side. She's just tremendous.
Olivia Larson wearing the number 2 for Sidney. Leads 1A in assists at 9 per set. A 4-year starter and over 3,300 assists in her career.
And her demeanor is perfect for a setter. She keeps everybody calm, even keeled. If there's a problem, she helps resolve it. They had a little problem yesterday. She helped resolve it.
Another point, and the Cowgirls up double digits, needing just 3 more points to win this third set. 12 kills now for Kelsey Hobby. 22-11. Good pass. Here's the back set. The block sends it back to Wapsie Valley. Off the hands.
Nice up.
Love the effort. The Warriors get the point. Well, I think we need to mention the fact that Janesville had been here the last 4 years. They've won the last 4 state championships here in Class 1A. Great tradition from Janesville. So when Wapsie Valley got that win, that had to be a huge boost for their confidence.
Absolutely, and that was the first round here. And so then that gave Wapsie Valley the confidence to come in and beat Holy Trinity, who has been awesome, I mean, ever since I can remember.
And you've been around a long time.
That's not very nice.
It's true, though. There's just some schools that have that tradition. You look,
Yes.
it's like, oh, they've been to state 20 times, 30 times.
Yep, and by putting the name of their school on their jersey, they might score a point or two for having that name on their jersey.
And it starts with the young girls at a young age working hard, looking up and saying, hey, when I'm at that position, I want to go to state, I want to win a championship.
So that was a great rally, but what was called was a center line violation. The body part can be on the line, but it cannot be completely over the line. Once it quits touching the line, it's a violation.
Great serve, almost a service 8. Ace at set point, and there it is. 25-12 is your final score here in the third set. And Sidney, the #1 ranked team who has not lost to anyone in Class 1A all year, is now 1 set away from claiming the state title. We'll see if Wapsie Valley can force a 5th set here on Iowa Public Television.
I can't explain how such an important moment in our history has been overlooked. And this is what the suffragists did in those decades before they actually achieved victory. They changed hearts and minds. They had to change not only the idea of who is a citizen who can vote, but what is a woman's role in society.
Carrie Chapman Catt, I think, more than any woman suffragist, actually brought that suffrage amendment home.
Coming this spring to Iowa Public Television.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Hi, this is Marion Ross. Please join me and Gavin MacLeod in A Classic Christmas.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
Saturday evening at 6.
They showed up about 6:30 a.m. That's inside the truck, working hard, whether they're in the truck, they're out of the truck, they're running camera. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, Iowa Public Television crew, for putting in the long day. 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and now 1A, and there's the general manager and camera operators. We get the easy job. We just sit here and talk.
And they feed us, and then we get a break, and so we really have the best job here.
Every corner of the state, all around you, have enjoyed the sights and sounds from downtown Cedar Rapids, a great host for the Iowa High School Volleyball Championships. Thank you so much to our great crew. Let's play some more volleyball here. It's a must-win scenario for Wapsie Valley. And Sidney, hey, they're looking for their first ever state championship in the sport of volleyball. That would be big for that community. Barb Randall, Eric Braley with the call here. Again, we're the ones with the easy job and the fun job. We've been doing this about 15 years, and it's a very special weekend on our calendars as well. Wapsie Valley, they have Warriors in their name. They were down in the second set, battled back to win. They trailed 2-1. The team that wins 3 sets wins the match and the championship trophy. First point goes to the Sidney Cowgirls.
Well, and both teams have the same matchup.
Here is a look at updated statistics. As a team, Wapsie Valley, 25 kills, 20 airs, 131 attempts, hitting .038. They do have 8 total team blocks. And for Sidney, 39 kills, 25 attack airs on 138 attacks, hitting .101. They have 3 total team blocks. 34 assists for Larson, 22 for Biesecker, and 17 digs for her as well. Miller has 20 digs. And Paige Smith with 18. Maddie Duncan, 14 digs, 13 for Lily Johnson, and 11 for Olivia Larson. Cowgirls with another point. For Sidney, Hobby has led them with 12 kills, hitting .111. 9 kills for Maddie Duncan, hitting .133. 7 kills for Presley Brumbaugh. 5 kills for Paige Smith. 4 kills for Harley Spurlock, and 2 kills for Olivia Larson. 2-2 here in the fourth. An individual kill statistics for Wapsie Valley. Both Calvin Rosegarten and Lydia Imbrogno have 8 kills. 5 kills for Sauerbrei and 2 kills for Hines. It's a must-win situation for Wapsie Valley, trying to force that 5th set. And Sidney would love to close it out here and win their first ever state title in volleyball. So many of these student athletes that we have shown you here on Iowa Public Television this year, multi-sport athletes, and I know a number of them are playing girls basketball. You know when their season starts?
It was last week, right?
Yeah. So I'm assuming Monday?
Yeah.
Straight in volleyball knee pads and tennis shoes
Get
for
the
your
high
basketball
tops, yep.
shoes. And
do they still wear high tops, or is that an olden thing?
I think so.
So there's that 3-play that we've seen kind of all day off and on. It's a quicker set, about 10 feet away from the setter. It's lined up to be in between the 2 blockers on the other side of the net, but that time Wapsie Valley didn't have any blockers against them, so it was a wide open shot.
Tying this thing up at 4 apiece, and that is the 11th kill for Maddie Duncan. When you work your middles like that, you got a lot of options. And Rosengarten.
Well, and I, for one, am never going to tell someone to set away from the middle. I like it when they set the middles. I'm maybe a tad biased on that, though.
So you played the position very well in high school and college. You coached the position. When you were recruiting, what do you look for in a good middle? Someone who has size obviously helps.
Well, and even more important than size would be the height they get above the net.
So adding that vertical leap.
Yep, and as well as that, they need to move laterally really well, because a middle blocker needs to block every single time the other team attacks. And then they have to be able to get off the net and approach and make themselves available to the setter as an offensive weapon.
Blocked but out of bounds. Hitting it off the block and getting the kill. And Maddie Duncan, another chance to serve. Duncan on the season, the 5'5" senior outside hitter. 2.46 kills per set. 18 aces as well. Into the net. And I have a feeling this 4th set will be very similar to what we've seen here at the end as what we're seeing at the beginning. 1 point here, 1 point there. 1 point here, 1 point there. It's the team that puts the sustained run together and then it goes back to the 1 point here, 1 point there. That's why you can't give a cushion to anybody.
That's exactly right. You need to make sure that as soon as the other team takes the ball away from you, you get it right back.
On the slide, getting the kill. Rosengarten again.
Well,
folks, she is just a freshman.
And my guess is that Coach Robinson said, hey, don't forget, when we pass better, we can use our middles. So when we pass well, let's try and get our middles more involved. And they've been able to do that so far in this fourth set.
Presley Brumbaugh with the kill. Brumbaugh on the season, the senior, 174 kills, a 1.79 kills per set average. Setter's dump, Sidney was expecting it. Wow, great decision. Didn't go with power, did a little roll shot over the block and down for the back row kill.
Well, and she was able to hit that spot because she knows they're playing the rotation defense, so they have coverage in the corners, and the open spot is the middle back.
9-7, an early timeout. And let's go inside the Wapsie Valley huddle.
Find her shoulder, find the ball, go take it out of her hands. That's what I need you to do. All right, everyone, you see the ball, you go. Don't look at each other, just go. Somebody go high, somebody go low, and get after it, okay? You girls, you are in this, you're in it. You gotta find it and believe it, all right? Keep swinging, keep being aggressive. Girls, get that ball on Casey's head, all right?
Lead and anticipate. We're sitting right now, anticipate it.
Absolutely. All right, are we good?
Yes.
All right.
Hey, we gotta run it every point hard. We gotta believe it.
Hey, ready? Here we go.
Hey, guys, believe in ourselves. We gotta go right now. We're in it.
Let's go.
Warriors are on 3, 1, 2, 3. Warriors are on.
Coach Robinson has seen some hesitancy from her players. That's what she means by just go. Don't expect someone else to get it. Don't think someone else is going to cover it. Go. Somebody go low, somebody go high. Go. And once you go, someone else will go, because effort is contagious.
And put the ball on the head of your setter as well.
Yeah, that's been a theme throughout every timeout that we've listened into hers.
Want to make her job as easy as possible, so she has those options. So Lily Johnson serving. It's a 10-7 lead for Sidney. 10-8 now. Nice attack and down for the point.
And Embroño does a nice job from the back row. That's the first time I think we've seen her swing from the back row, but throughout this tournament, she's been doing a great job from the back row. One other thing I would say is when they set her on the outside, she needs to just keep swinging line, because there's the potential of running into Hobby if she goes cross court, but she's got a short blocker line every single time.
Back to a 1-point ball game and double-digit kills now for Lydia Embroño, the team leader in kills on the regular season.
As a sophomore.
As a sophomore, yeah. I think Wapsie Valley might be back here again. The two leading players are freshmen and sophomore. Split the block, and in the net called against Wapsie Valley. 11-9.
That time Hobby took the ball and cut it back across her body to that right back corner, seeing that the block was set up towards her other side.
Hit to the back row, good patience, and it's over on 3. Wapsie Valley all the way to the outside, and that's not returned. Another kill for Lydia Embroño. And checking in to serve will be Emma Jones. We'll look at Heather Robinson, 11 years coaching, 3rd year at Wapsie Valley. Been to the state tournament twice. Down from sideline to sideline. A kill for the Cowgirls. Here's a look at that replay. Just bumping it over and getting right on that line. Well, Barb, I want to make sure I get your thoughts for all the people listening here. As someone who's had success in multiple sports as a high school athlete, as someone who had success at the Division I volleyball level and at the international level, why are you a proponent of not just specializing and focusing 365 days a year on the sport of volleyball?
Well, it's interesting because every year, as each year goes by, my thoughts on that change a little bit.
Okay, where are we in 2019?
But not differently, just the reasons continue to mount for me. I think that multi-sport athletes you learn things from other sports that you wouldn't learn just playing one sport all the time.
Teamwork, competition,
no,
what?
more like skills. So I felt like my peripheral vision was better in volleyball because of playing basketball and having to look down the court and where my teammates were. Things like that people who just play one sport won't ever find out. I think that the sport gets too cookie cutter when everybody plays the same sport all year round. Like we've talked about it a couple times that it's 3 contacts, 3 contacts, 3 contacts. You're losing some of the craftiness, some of the, send it over unexpectedly and break up the rhythm, that kind of thing. But I also, and this might be the most important reason, is I think when you play one sport every day all year round, that you tend to have overuse issues and injuries, and that can really come out later in life.
Again, she's Barb Randall, All-American at Iowa. She's in the Iowa High School Girls Athletic Association Hall of Fame, and an outstanding Division I volleyball coach as well. Joining us on our broadcast here. That ball just grabbed the line. It's in for a 14-13 Cowgirl lead, and that's 14 kills for number 3, Maddie Duncan. Well, you can relive the excitement, share the moments with your family, friends, and neighbors. Visit IPTV.org for archives of championship games anytime. So you want to go back to 3-4 years ago? You can watch the archive broadcast. And this is proven to be a great broadcast and championship here as we are down to the 1A championship match. Let's listen inside Sidney's huddle now.
Except for 12. So your right side be on the line, everybody else go cross, but be ready for a short roll. Okay? You got this, one pass at a time. Focus mentally, okay? Let's go. Focus here, let's go.
She knows that Wapsie Valley's tendencies are to tip and use shots when they're in trouble, and so she is warning them, be ready for a tip or a shot. Then she's also reminding them, hey, it's all about passing. It all breaks down to passing. Keep passing well, you'll be fine.
15-13, just past the halfway point of this 4th set. It's a must-win situation for Wapsie Valley, because if Sidney wins this set, they win their first ever state volleyball championship title. Some confusion on Sidney's side of the net. Again, Sidney defeated Springville in the quarterfinals on Wednesday. They defeated North Tama 3-0 in the semifinals yesterday. And now taking on Wapsie Valley, who they defeated, 4-time defending champion Janesville in the quarterfinals on Wednesday, and Holy Trinity Catholic in the semifinals yesterday to get here. Split right between 2 Wapsie Valley players in the back row, and the Cowgirls jump out to a 2-point lead. That is now 15 kills for Maddie Duncan. Sidney sends it over from the setter. A whistle, and Sidney's going to be charged
with the net violation.
Got a body part in the net. You can't do that. There's not a ton of rules in volleyball, but that's an important one, right?
Yes,
I just don't know how you throw the emergency brake on and stop your momentum when you're just flying in and playing so tight to it.
Well, it's all about technique. So that's why we go through, technique for your approach and technique for your blocking and different techniques, because doing it certain ways will be more advantageous than others.
The line was open. Good vision. 17-15. Sidney with the lead. Spurlock with her 5th kill. Good things have happened when Lily Johnson serving for Sidney. Oh, nice job. She can get kills wherever she's at on the court, can't she?
She really can, and they probably should start using her even a little bit more.
13 kills for number 12, Lydia Imbrogno. Well, 2 keys you had for Sidney: keep laser-like focus and enjoy the match. How would you say they're grading out on those?
Well, I would say their focus has been okay. It hasn't been perfect, but it's been okay. They're losing a little bit of focus right now, it looks to me, as I look around at some of the players after a play. But for the most part, I'd say, yes, they've been pretty focused. I think for the most part, they're enjoying what they're doing, but they aren't demonstrative like some of the other teams are. And so it's harder to see that part of it.
Ball grabs in. That's a quick hit and play. And Sidney now leads 18-17, 14 kills now for Hobby. As you see the replay, no hesitation, drilled that one down to the court. Play to 25, win by 2. Sidney won the first set, 25-17. Wapsie Valley won the second set, 25-23. Sidney won the third in dominant fashion, 25-12. This one has been as tight as it is right now, 1 or 2 point separating these two schools.
Well, and that's why Wapsie Valley wants to make sure it doesn't get any further away from it than what it is right now.
Oh, it just barely sails out of bounds.
I thought there could have been a touch on that, but we are completely across the gym, so we don't have a good vantage point for it.
We're checking in with Wapsie Valley's keys. You said remain fearless and start quickly.
Yeah, I would say that the fearlessness is not what we've seen in other matches this week. Starting quickly, they started quickly. I mean, they were up 4-1 in the first set, but then they went on Sidney went on a 7-point run. So not really quite the jump that I would have liked if I were their coach.
Here's Emma Jones for Wapsie Valley. Jones, a freshman. And they're having a tough time returning it. Finally, they do. Wapsie Valley to the outside. Here's Sidney. Rolled it down the front of the net. Great up there by Imbrogno. We play on. Tip. Returned. Quick block. And the ball just won't drop to the court on either side of the net. Great rally. Good up in the back row by the libero. Down the line. Oh, they said it's out of bounds.
That's the right idea. She was up against a single blocker. That single blocker came from the middle, so that leaves some line open. It just was out of bounds. Close.
21-18, leading by 3 and needing just 4 more points is Sidney. Wapsie Valley, back row attack, and it's just hit into the net. And now the Cowgirls can sense it. Getting closer, they want to join Cedar Falls, the 5A champion. Sergeant Bluff-Luton, the 4A champ. Mount Vernon, the 3A champion. And Western Christian, the 2A champion. Sidney has never been a state champion in volleyball. And now, Barb, they're so close.
They're so close, but that doesn't mean that they can let up.
Absolutely.
They need to keep going until the number hits 25.
Duncan with 16 kills. Head coach Amy McClintock is this program. Sidney, slide down the line, it's good. And Sidney has match point here in the fourth set. 15 kills for Kelsey Hobby. Fifth consecutive trip to state. Undefeated versus 1A competition this year. The #1 ranked team in Class 1A. Trying to battle off the Warriors of Wapsie Valley. One more point. They have options. Another great rally. There it is. No, it just sails out of bounds. And the door of opportunity remains open for Wapsie Valley. Here's the replay. And it sails out. 24-19.
Well, that's why we say you got to hit 6 inches inside the line, right? So that it's not exactly on the line and somebody has to make the call.
Match point for Sidney. And Wapsie Valley, they believe. Their coach, Heather Robinson, has said time and time again, you got to believe. They got a mountain to climb if they want to force the 5th set. Back against the wall right now, facing match point. Briley Bellis, another freshman for Wapsie Valley. There's 5 freshmen and 4 seniors on Wapsie Valley's roster. Sidney attacks, block, point, guess who? Wapsie Valley on a run. But they built that cushion, Sidney has, to get this lead. Timeout on the court. Here's the last play again. The Warriors playing some inspired volleyball. Down, but certainly not out.
You're pulling off, but pull in a little bit. Protect the middle of the floor, okay? All right, come on, girls, you got this. Here we go, kid.
Here we go.
She knows that Sidney likes to put the ball in the middle of the court, and so she wants to make sure her team is prepared for that shot.
It's been a fun-filled day of high school volleyball action. It's the final day, and we're in the final minutes and moments of the 2019 Iowa high school volleyball season. Sidney 1 point away. Wapsie Valley serving on a run. Good pass, back set, swing, block, point, Warriors!
Talk about grit, right? We like watching players with grit. We like watching teams with grit. Wapsie Valley showing they've got grit.
And mind you, Briley Bellis is a freshman back there, serving tough. Match point, Sidney. Trying to stop this Wapsie Valley run and win a state title. And Wapsie Valley does it again. Are you not entertained? None of today's championships have gone 5. Fighting off match point after match point after match point. Trying to tie this thing up. Match point again for Sidney. Big swing, tip. Back row attack, blocked, tap back over. Great hustle. The pass is there. The swing, and there it is! Final score, Sidney 25, Wapsie Valley 23, and for the first time ever, Sidney is a state champion in Iowa high school volleyball. Quite an ending, an exclamation point to our full day of broadcast. Been on the air since 10 a.m. And the Warriors were Warriors there down the home stretch in that fourth set. Leading the way, 15 kills for Lydia Imbrogno, 12 for Calvin Rosengarten. Here's that champion point again. Maddie Duncan with 17 kills. Kelsey Hobby with 15. Sidney didn't know if this would ever come. And then it did, and cue the celebration.
Jim Beamer and Travis Fletcher. Presenting awards to the 2019 Class 1A All-Tournament team is John Sambolthy, Regional Manager for Iowa Farm Bureau. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 Class 1A All-Tournament team. From Sidney, Maddie Duncan. From Holy Trinity Catholic, Claire Polpatakis. From North Tama, Katie Capriva. From Wapsie Valley, Calvin Rosengarten. From Sidney, Olivia Larson. From Wapsie Valley, Lydia Imbrogno. And your Class 1A All-Tournament team captain from Sidney, Kelsey Hobby.
Kelsey Hobby, a senior, going out as the captain of the state tournament team. Well-deserved honor against Sidney. Senior class unbeaten at home this year, 37-0. Throughout their career and throughout conference, 49-0. Undefeated this year in 1A competition. 5th consecutive trip to state, and they finally win that state championship.
Awesome. They did a great job. They had a great week. It's been so fun to watch them the last 5 years.
And Wapsie Valley beat the 4-time defending champion Janesville. They blended that youth of 5 freshmen and 4 seniors for the state runner-up honor.
From Wapsie Valley, the Warriors and head coach Heather Robinson. And now, your 2019 Class 1A champions, Coach Amy McClintock and the Cowgirls from Sidney.
Final thoughts on this match and the overall day that we just experienced here.
Well, I think it put the perfect cap on a wonderful day. What a great match. Wapsie Valley had a great week also. They were really fun to watch. It's always fun when a team pushes pedal to the metal, beats the #1 team, the team that's been reigning champ for 4 years. Great job by both teams.
Well, for years, Iowa Public Television has showcased and inspired the Iowa girl, bringing unparalleled professional coverage of girls' state championships to homes across Iowa and the nation. This year, IPTV is celebrating 50 years of being Iowa's only statewide network. Can't wait to share the next 50 with you. We thank our great crew for putting in a long day. It has been quite a treat. We hope you enjoyed it. For Barb Randall, my good friend, I'm Eric Braley saying so long, where Cedar Falls, Sergeant Bluff Lutton, Mount Vernon, Western Christian, and Sidney are your champions here in 2019. We'll see y'all next year. Thanks for watching.
Funding for the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, Iowa Farm Bureau Girls State Volleyball Championships is provided by
The path to greatness starts early. The Iowa Farm Bureau believes in Iowa's youth and their pursuit of greatness. That's why we're proud to be the title sponsor of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. Each student's effort is important, and when one rises, we all rise to a better Iowa.
Fairway, along with Nabisco, Frito-Lay, and Sara Lee, is a proud sponsor of the Iowa Girls Sports Championships. We congratulate all the schools and student athletes participating in this year's Girls High School State Volleyball Championships. Fairway, proud to care for the places we work and live. By Musco Lighting, the sports lighting specialists, providing lighting systems for you, your project, and your community.